Abarera, Legos, Rambori, Banish, Satan, Demonio, Dinaja, 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 Abarera, Legos, Rambori, Abarera Legos Ram Ori Banish C10 Demonio Dinaja 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 Abarera Legos Ram Demonio. Dinaja. Abarera. Legos. Ram. Ori. Banish. C10. Demonio. Dinaja. Abarera. Legos. Ram. Ori. Banish. C10. Demonio. Dinaja. Abarera. Legos. Ram. Ori. Banish. C10. Demonio. Dinaja. Abarera. Legos.
All right, everyone. Welcome to Apocrypha, the only Apocrypha podcast on YouTube. I don't know if that's being spent yet, but, you know. Oh, we can't see Mystic.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, hold on a
I
second.
can see me on Discord.
No, I mean, I'm saying like on the stream, though. Properties. Stream.
I wonder.
There you go. We got you. We got you. There you are. Now we can see you.
Interesting. Yay. Ah,
All right. So,
I'm coming back, I promise.
yeah, no problem. So tonight we're going back to a pretty classic formatting. It's just going to be me and Mystic. Dyer's not feeling well, at all, and Brad or Brooke, I don't know what he's doing. That's not my wheelhouse. So
He's currently walking the doggo and doing some other stuff that we have to do because we have a short turnaround this weekend.
Gotcha. All right, there. I really wish I could turn the music down a little bit more. Can I just turn it off? I think I can just turn it off. All right, so what we're going to be talking about tonight. This conversation can kind of go anywhere. So the title of the show tonight is Ritual as a Mirror of Reality. So the role of symbolic action in shaping personal and collective consciousness. Okay, so this isn't just, focused on the ritual itself, but rather using your mindset not only in ritual of the spiritual type, but your daily rituals to kind of form and manipulate, your perspective on your life and how to use it to your advantage to affect meaningful change, right? But before we do that, Mystic, what decks you got for us? And I'm going to put together your scene here really quick so you can go full scene. full screen.
Sweet.
Yep. So like I said, guys, I'm using new software, so keep going. Go ahead. Go ahead.
As you can see, I'm in my, this is our witch room. The whole front of our house is basically our big altar. Behind me, you see that's my dedication to Carnunos and Pan, which you can't see my 3-foot Pan up top here, but because he's in the way, but you see some of the other ones. But yeah, so we're trying to get some different backgrounds and move around a little bit. But so just in case anybody was wondering. So yeah, tonight I have another deck that I wanted to use, but I just was, and this is how tarot always happens to me. I was just looking through the decks, like, yeah, I want to use this one. I pulled it out, I set it down. I'm like, huh, I haven't seen this one in a while. And right next to it was another deck that I had that I haven't used, and it's an Oracle deck. It's called the Sylvankind Oracle. Some of you may be familiar with it. I don't know. It's not a super popular one, but it is a favorite of mine. So it's an Oracle deck, and the cards they're fine. Stock itself isn't all that great. It's just super glossy, your standard deck. Not bad, not anything I would be upset about, but I do love the reversibility. However, in Oracle for me, I don't really read reversals that much in Oracle cards. I do much more so in Tarot. But these are a borderless deck. It is a or at least it was a Kickstarter deck that I was a part of, or pledged to. So and I know last week I used Oracle too. I've been feeling, as most of you know, I'm really big on tarot reading, but I've really enjoyed some Oracle decks lately. This Oracle particular deck here is it's different because, well, not this one, but Oracle in general is different because Oracle to me is more about giving direction. So to me, Oracle tells you things. It's an Oracle, right? Tarot is more about defining the environment and the things that are happening. So Oracle, I consult more often when I just need to know what to do next. Tarot, I consult more often when I'm feeling listless or need some information or direction in life. So interesting thing that I just noticed, like I said, I just now coming to realization, I've been pulling Oracle a lot lately. And I know Adius, you tend to gravitate towards the Oracle decks as well. I think there's a much bigger openness to them.
Yep.
For interpretation and that kind of thing. So
Definitely.
just interesting note that I've been pulling so many oracles lately. But anyway, let's get 3 cards, and we'll go through them. And I think you guys will really like the images on these, because they're kind of a mix of ethereal and spiritual and some abstractness to them. So our first card, confidence. So one of the things that we need to be able to do in order to be happy and in order to make things happen is confidence. If we're not confident in what we're doing, then maybe we second guess ourselves, or we don't express it properly, and then that thing never happens. This is true for me in ritual too. Confidence is very tightly woven in with intent for me. If you're not confident in your intent or in how you feel about something, it's going to be really difficult to get that across into not only the mundane world, but into the spiritual world that you're trying to work through. So building confidence is going to be an important part of the energies that are around us right now, that we have to be sure of what we want. We have to be clear, and we have to attack it with confidence, or we're not going to get the outcome that we're looking for. So if you have trouble with confidence, and that's not something that you have a lot of, or maybe you need help with, then you need to start working on ways to develop confidence, and recognizing that you are everything that you need. This is a very interesting card next to follow. Uncertainty. I actually really like this one, this image. So we just get done talking about confidence, and the next card is uncertainty. Well, that's right on point, right? What do you think can help the most if the world and the things that you're used to are uncertain or unclear? Not confidence that you know the answer or what to do, but confidence that you know you will be able to find a way through it. So as we build up our confidence and that we try to do those things that give us the basis for intent and for moving things forward, we're walking into uncertainty. So uncertainty can provoke a lot of anxiety in a lot of people. It can make people uncomfortable. I know myself, I have a lot of uncertainty coming up soon. But because I also have a level of confidence in myself and what I'm able to do, I'm not worried about it. The uncertainty is now a challenge and an opportunity to do things differently or better. So approach the uncertainties that are coming up in the next couple of weeks with confidence, and you'll be able to make it through them without a whole lot of anxiety. And if you are really anxious about things, then you probably need to talk to somebody, get it out. But you need to look at, why am I so worried or anxious about something? Because if you're confident, it's not really going to be a problem, is it? Because you feel comfortable with what's going on. Confidence is easier said than done. I get that, but that does take us to our third card, which is presence. And this is a different kind of presence, right? So we just talked about confidence, and we talked about uncertainty. And if that's where we currently are in uncertainty, then presence is going to be a major part of that, right? You can recognize in this card, you have one, I'm going to call it a treant for now, that's fully there in the physical mundane, holding hands with one that's cut down. Is that thing that's missing, that treant that's gone, is it still present? In the mundane, no. In the spiritual, yes, it can be if that's what we're trying to do. So recognize the presence of things that aren't necessarily there, and recognize your presence and what it can do, and also recognize what happens when the presence is not there. So when we're in absence. So all of these things kind of come together for our energy read this week to tell us that we have to pay attention to what's around us. We have to approach this uncertain time that we're running through with confidence. And not only do we have to be present, but we have to look around us for the things that maybe you can't see, but are still there. So to me, it's a little bit of a tough read because, I think it's kind of saying things are going to get rough for a minute. And I think it's important that we listen to ourselves when things are rough and try not to let anxiety or things that are make us nervous run away with us. So that was brought
Awesome.
to you by the Sylvan Kind Oracle.
Yeah. Yeah. Mystics readings always seem to be kind of like on point. So,
I feel like
yeah.
that was a little, I'm not going to say darker, but it feels like there's more, like the uncertainty part really hits pretty hard there. I think people are going to have some nerves in the next couple of weeks that we have to watch out for.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. So sorry about the switching back and forth, guys. It's just there was a particular font that I chose for that screen, and it's just using the basic font for some reason. So I just wanted to see if
You're so
switching it
basic.
back. Yeah, pretty much. So
Those candles look really nice up there. I've never used them before like that.
yeah, I mean, it feels like that's what they should, how they should be used, kind of. Like
It is.
it's kind of like a modern day lava lamp kind of vibe.
I have a couple of those too.
Yeah.
I'm a 90s kid. Well, 80s
Fucking that's
kid, but
80s,
yeah.
man.
Yeah. Technically an 80s kid.
Yeah. I mean, I was born in the 80s, but that doesn't make me an 80s. I was born in the ass end of the 80s. So, like, I wasn't alive long enough to say that I lived through it. Like, I hate it when people are like, they're born in like 86 or 87, 88, 89, and they're like, oh, yeah, I'm an 80s kid. No, you're fucking not. You're a 90s kid. You grew up in the 90s. So, the topic this evening, right? So, when we talk about ritual, I think like we've touched base on this a couple of times before, talking about kind of like the daily rituals and things that we do. day in and day out. Because when we talk about ritual, we're not just talking about, ritual in front of the altar. Now, obviously, ritual in front of the altar, change and manifestation can begin, focusing that energy and moving that energy around, what it is that you want to manifest or accomplish. So the process can start there. But then you kind of have to look at also, the rest of your life. Are your daily rituals, mirroring what you're asking for or working for in spiritual ritual, right? And so I suppose that's kind of where this title kind of comes from, right? So, using like ritual as a mirror of reality, right? So it's kind of counterproductive if you go into spiritual ritual and you're asking for XYZ, but when you go over to your daily rituals, nothing in your daily rituals has changed, right? And those changes, those can be small changes. Like, I think in order for us to achieve improvement and for us to achieve manifestation in a lot of things, there is change that is required in us. Like what we do needs to change. How we do things needs to change, right? So a simple example, a shortcoming of mine, right? So I don't go into ritual and ask to be, successful on YouTube or, in content creation and things like that. One, simply because I don't need, a spiritual directive to make that happen, right? But also simply because I know what needs to happen, right? If I want to be successful in something, if that's the overall goal, then I need to apply myself more to that thing. And yeah, we've got the weekly podcasts. There's essentially 3 podcasts that are, on this channel throughout the week, but there's barely any, weekly uploads, right? Like during the week, right? There's no pre-recorded content or barely any pre-recorded content that goes up. And so habit, ritual, creating a ritual, a daily or weekly ritual in making, editing, and uploading content would be paramount to creating that success, right? Manifesting that success here on YouTube. And it's just, the same thing goes and applies to everything else we do in our lives, right? So if you can't align at least some of your action, your daily actions, to what it is that you're trying to achieve in life, you're minimizing your own opportunity for achievement, right? By not trying to align certain actions. And I understand that, like, there's kind of like the mentality of the idea that, certain people are in certain places and like they may or may not be capable of doing certain things. And that's fine. But only those people know who they are, right? At the end of the day, what elicits change, right? It's Dyer and I were having a conversation last night, and we're talking politics, and I was saying that in my personal feelings, I think that both the left and the right are guilty of the same shit. And the best example I gave is, for example, when Trump won in 2016, the left was going, I didn't vote for him, that's not my president. And the right was going, oh, yes, it is, whether you want him or not. Come, 2020, and Joe Biden, is president, what does the right start to do? Oh, I didn't vote for him, it's not my president. And I'm sitting there, in my head, I'm going, just sit down and shut the fuck up, like, really? Like, you can't bitch about something and then do the exact same fucking thing when it's convenient for you to fucking do it. Like, that is the most hypocritical fucking thing in the world. Right? So we're talking about this stuff, and it's basically just kind of sitting there saying, like, the change that you want to see, like there are people that make good points politically, right? Like, but end up only getting into arguments with people and turning that into a cash cow so they can upload videos of them arguing with people so people can click on it and watch it. But what change are you actually eliciting by just continually bitching about stuff, the same stuff every day with different people? Nothing. You're not changing anything, right? You want things to stay the way that they are because you found a system that works for you and it's getting you clicks, it's getting you views, and you want to keep things that way, right? So if you want change to happen, the left-hand path teaches us a very, very important lesson. You are responsible for yourself, and only you are responsible for yourself. You can't control anyone else. You can't control I can't control what Mystic does. I can't control what Dyra does. I can't control what the fucking cat does. I can't control anything outside of myself. I can control myself. I can control my reactions. I have complete control of myself. So therefore, again, going back into the mirror idea of this, if you want change to happen, you need to be the mirror of the change that you want to see. It needs to start with you. You need to begin the process of that change, whether that's politics, whether that's spirituality, whether that's a new job, whatever the situation may be. It starts with you beginning to create rituals, small or however big you feel are necessary, to allow that change, to facilitate that change, and have it start to actually happen. Now, Mystic, what say you, good friend?
So I have a lot of thoughts. Hopefully I can remember them all.
Okay.
Um, the whole idea that we're talking about tonight reminds me of a couple of things. Some hermetic principles and some things that everybody's going to recognize, right? As above, so below; as within, so without, right? So the thought and idea that things, and that's not just like spiritual and mundane or here and there, or up and down. It's anything that exists on, really anything that exists potentially on a continuum. And so the idea is, if we want to make a change, which let's define what is it when we do magic? What are we trying to do? Well, we're trying to change something, or make something occur in a certain way, or have an effect on things that are outside of us, right? And so kind of tying in that change piece, you have to know where it lies on the line of things that can be altered. So if I can mirror what I'm looking for in a different way, then I have more knowledge of it. I'm sorry, I've got hiccups starting. I have more knowledge of it. I then have the ability to kind of identify it, right? Like find it in a space, and then I can work on changing it. But I think that's one of the first things to know is when we say, or at least for me, when I say as above, so below, it's not just like, yeah, everything is the same. No, it goes along with polarity too. Things are the same in nature, but different in their degree. And when you can identify where those things are, like the easiest example that people can say is love and hate, right? If you are pure love, the polar opposite of that is pure hate. If you know both of those things, then you can switch back and forth between those things very easily, because they are on the same continuum of nature, but they just differ in their degree, and we can move with that. So I think that's a big part of it. When we're trying to do magic, we're trying to do ritual, we're trying to change something in our world, that's the goal, right? Or head towards a direction, then we need to understand on this continuum of how much we think things are different, but they're really not. Like, we really do set ourselves up. Politics is a great example, with just a false dichotomy that's not there. We create that because it's easy, and like you said, it's something that people are comfortable with, so they keep it. Um, I think using an example of in politics, a radical left is no better or worse than a radical right. Different ideas, different degrees, but it's the same thing. It's the same definition. It's the same nature. Neither one of them are going to be effective. Same way that I believe that pure hate and pure love, should they exist, aren't effective things. They aren't effective energies. They will not gather or get you where you need to go. But knowing of them and what they are can, because it allows you to know where things lie on that continuum. And then that takes me to the third thought, which is about change. And this is more of an academic thought process instead of spiritual. Again, we were talking about change, like in our world, magic and doing things that can create change. There's a theory, the change theory. It's very common. There are many different theories, but in the change theory that many people use when we're trying to change a system or a process, this is actually a huge part of my mundane life job, is being a change agent, and that is freezing, moving, and unfreezing. And what that does is, or what that, in a really small nutshell, because that's days of conversation. There are many books written on the subject. It is taking the system that is and just stopping it, keeping it right where it is. And then you actually move it. Then you kind of take it to where you want it to be, and then you unfreeze it. You can't do them all at the same time. And in order to do that, though, you have to know where you are. You have to know where you want to go, i.e., your magic, your polarity, your as above, so below, right? You can't just throw a dart into space and think it's going to hit a bullseye. So that's what the freezing is. It's the pulling of everything together into a place. Then we have to know how to get to it and get it to change into what it is we're trying to change. So if you want to change somebody else's point of view, you first of all, like you said, you can't. You're not responsible for anybody else. But if you're trying to get a point across, you can't get that point across without understanding where the person's coming from first. Just like if I want to get money magically, I'm not getting any money. Let's call magic above and mundane below, just for the hell of it. I magically want money from above. Not going to happen until I make it work below. We've got to know where we are, know where we're going, know what we want to make those changes happen. So in the politics example, um, it's a good example because it's so unbelievably obvious and simple, yet so incredibly difficult for so many people. They're the same thing. They're literally the same thing. And knowing that is the only way you can potentially change it to be something that's valuable or moving towards you. I know that was really long-winded. I don't know if I got my full point out, but
No, it's great,
that's
man.
the idea.
No, I mean, that was kind of the reason I brought up the whole politics idea. I mean, the thing is it's not a political channel. We're not going to get into politics. I mean, we have in the past slightly, but it's a polarizing example that a lot of people can look at, and even someone that isn't magical can understand, where that's coming from. And it is here's the other part of it too. It's so easy. If you spend any amount of time online, it is so easy to get pulled into one side or the other.
And it's so easy to see, like when I backed out and looked at things, like politics is the best example, and I was like, holy shit, like, yes, I will be honest, I do think there is one side is more valuable than the other to me because its focus is on people and social things, but that doesn't make me right about it. And I'm never going to be able to understand somebody else if I can't at least consider that, there's a reason behind what they think, even if it's wrong, even if it's bad, even if it's malicious. There's a reason. And I'm not going to spend my time being angry about it anymore because I don't have time for that.
Yeah, no, it's and I think that, like, I think the reason why that example is so valuable with what we're talking about is because of the fact that it's so easy to get pulled into one side or the other. You lose sight of the change that you wanted to elicit to begin with by getting caught up in all of the microcosm issues that are happening. And it happens on both sides. That's the thing. Like, I'm not choosing one side or the other here. I'm both sides. It happens that an issue pops up and then they focus on that for 2 weeks, and then something else pops up and then they focus on that for 2 weeks. What the fuck was the point to begin with?
Yep. I feel like I feel like I need to fight for a lot of the social things when it comes to politics, because technically that shouldn't be politics, right? Um, we can talk about any of those topics: abortion, transsexualism, gay, whatever,
Uh-huh.
race. That's all on the table. But we're spending so much time being angry at that we're not recognizing the just the joy of existing and being in, able to go outside and do something, to be able to do
Mhm.
magic, to just enjoy life. And we spend so much time being angry. And I am angry about a lot of things, especially, like I said, the social stuff. That there's some things that bother me. There's a chance, for example, that my marriage might not be legally recognized in the future, even if it's in certain states. But right now, as much as that sucks, I'm not going to miss out on being with the person I'm married to because I'm so angry about marriage, right? And there's a word for it, and I can't think of what it is. And it's not stupid, but it's something like that. Like, almost like missing the forest for the trees, you know?
Yeah. Can't see the forest for the
But
trees.
but
Yeah.
different. But different. It's like, I don't know how to say it. Like, you're so and everybody's doing it. Like, you can look through at anything on social media and you can pull out like the first 100 things, and it feels good that, somebody agrees with you. And then
Mhm.
somebody says something stupid and you're like, fuck that person.
Yep.
And they're doing the same to you, and it does nothing. All
Mhm.
you're doing is getting angry or dismissing something. It's like, yeah, I do think I have feelings. I have trans friends, and the way that trans people are being treated in this country is wrong. But I'm certainly not going to change anybody's mind by like dismissing them in Facebook. Like, that, what are we doing? you know?
Well, I mean, one of the things that weighs on me is when I was younger, right? Um, and then this comes full circle to what we're talking about. I promise. When I was younger, I had a lot of vitriol towards just like organized politics in any shape or form, right? Like right, left didn't really matter. And I was very quick to point out, yeah, this is an issue. This is an issue. There's an issue with this. This needs to be fixed. This needs to be fixed. This needs to be fixed. And, I was parroting what everyone else around me was saying. Not that it didn't need to be fixed. It did. But the problem is after 20 years of that, you kind of sit back and you say, what the fuck did we do? What
Yeah.
did we do? Spending all of our time complaining about shit instead of affecting change, and repeating the same things that other people were doing, but to the other side. It's like,
Well, that's the bigger problem.
I say that this one thing is wrong, that this side, whoever it is, does this thing, and it's wrong that they do it, but then I do that same thing, just in a different situation, circumstance.
And that's never going to stop. That's human nature right there.
So it's like after 20 years of that, you just kind of sit there and you go, okay, yeah, I get it. There's problems. How about we come up with some fucking solutions? Because the only way we're going to do that is by working together. And so going into the mirroring aspect of this, I knew that I needed to mirror that behavior and that ideology before anyone else was going to, at least anyone around me. Because what happens is you might not be able to change the people around you currently to think the way that you're thinking, or to help move you in the direction that you want to go. But what you'll find is when you begin to mirror the things that you want in your life, the dead weight in your life that is stopping you from achieving that will start to fall off because you're no longer entertaining and feeding into that side of things. That dead weight will fall off, and you will begin to attract and pull into your orbit people that will do or think or want to do the same things that you're doing. Right?
Yep.
Whether that's in starting a business and making money, whether that is in your politics, whatever the case may be, whatever it is, when you begin to mirror the change that you want to see happen, you begin to attract people that have that same energy, and the dead weight will fall off. And that just goes down again when we're talking about those rituals, those daily rituals, finding a way to manifest your shit.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, like, and daily rituals. And I know we've talked about this a lot, and I like it because people think about, oh, I don't have time to do a daily ritual. I'm like, yeah, but you get up every morning, probably take a piss, take a shit, take a shower, right? And you want to do a certain thing that day, or, well, maybe that's something you're not doing, because I'll be honest with you, I felt asleep for a long time. You start recognizing these things in your daily, and you start wanting to change your life and what you're doing, and you find ways to integrate these little rituals. For us, and I talked about this before again, we make our own, like, face washes and toners and shower gels, that kind of stuff. They're ritualistic because when I get in the shower, one of the first things I think of is all the shit, not just physical, but all of the shit is going, this water's grabbing onto it, taking it right on out, down, out the drain. And
I do the
those
same thing.
rituals, it's common, it's easy. And if you do it, you start feeling it. And those are the things that we can do simply and easily, that set up a way for our mundane world and our spiritual worlds to kind of mirror each other. Because, I mean, let's face it, I am of the belief that they're attached. And there's many more things attached that I don't know or understand, but
Yeah, and even if, like,
it just makes no sense to do one and not the other.
yeah, I mean, even if, like, I mean, like, you go to an extreme example with that, right? Even if, like, let's say in the morning you wake up late and you don't, like, you're like, oh shit, like, I don't have time to take a shower this morning or whatever. If you do morning showers, splash some water on your face.
Yeah.
Like, wash your face, brush your
It-
teeth. Like, when you do that, same
Yep.
concept.
Yeah, we do this thing, in where I work. It's a program that basically, it's built on senses to elicit responses.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in the morning, a lot of face washes are citrus blast or grapefruit burst, or
Yeah.
that there's a reason for that, because bright citrus and sunny scents help wake you up,
Yep.
right? If you're a morning shower person, citrus. If you're a person that takes them in at night, honey and lavender are better.
Mm-hmm.
Chamomile would be better. So, building into those rituals help you then mirror what we're doing in the physical world, so that we can start getting that alignment of things,
Mm-hmm. And, like,
which is where we
if you
start making change.
exactly, and like, just to add on to the political side of it, if people are wondering, like, well, how do you elicit, like, the kind of, like, that change where you don't want to feed into the negative, like the negative on either side? Don't engage. Don't engage. Don't engage. Don't engage with people that you agree with that are extreme. Don't engage with people that you disagree with that are extreme on either side. Right? It doesn't matter if somebody's on an extreme end of something and you agree with the majority of the stuff that they're saying. Don't engage with it, because you know that's toxic shit. Don't invite the toxicity
Yeah.
into your life. Right? Find your own path to express your ideas, and you will find the people that will express their ideas in the same or similar manner that you do that isn't toxic.
In other words, and as cliche as it sounds, I'm going to say it: be the change that you want to see in the world.
It's it is
It's the
cliche, but it's
truth.
true.
Yeah,
Well,
because there's I know I engage people, and I recognize it now, which is pretty cool because I didn't used to. Like, I'll be talking, and I think we talked about this. I'll start typing out a message somebody puts in there, and I'm just gonna say it because it's a good example. And it really bothers me when I see this. But I'll be reading in Facebook or something, and somebody's whose name, for example, is Jose,
Mm-hmm.
right underneath it, and this is about a video game, like about Nintendo Switch 2 being overpriced and the tariffs. Oh my God, everything sucks. And Jose writes that this is crazy. I can't believe this is happening right now. Trump will fix it. And somebody replies, "Well, you're going to get deported." Like, what? In what world does that help anything? And so I sit there and I start typing back like, "You all are just both mother." I just, and then I just like, I am taking a shit right now, and I'm on my Facebook, and I don't care. Delete, 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 delete. I'm going to go outside and like
Touch
do
some fucking
something fun.
grass.
Right? So it's so true and it's so sad. Uh, yeah, there are a lot of things that are wrong, and no one person is going to fix it, and we are never going to fix it the way we're going, at the rate we're going.
No, because the thing is like, so being here in England, Dyra and I regularly see kind of like,
That's my favorite one. I don't want to cut you off, but hey, you're in England. Your opinion doesn't matter.
so
Lord Jesus.
right.
Sorry. I'm
No, it's
tired
all
of hearing
good.
that
So
too. Everybody's allowed to have an opinion.
we're regularly watching like news updates and stuff like that, like things that are happening here, like in London, things like that. And just look at some of these protests, like even like going back, like the 2016 protests and stuff like that, like the direction that those protests went. It's very dystopian. Like it really is. It's very dystopian to watch it. Like to watch the stuff unfolding. It's like you feel like you're watching like, the end of history begin to unfold in front of you. Between fucking AI almost taking over shit and, the complete and utter division between all of us. Even like inside the occult, like the division inside of the occult, like LaVeyan Satanists telling,
So many examples.
huh?
There's so many examples.
There is like it's just, are you tired yet? like, or like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I was thinking about it the other day. I was thinking about, what the fuck is her name? Greta Thunberg, I think her name is.
Greta Thornburg.
Is it Thornburg?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know.
Huh?
I think Thornburg is a kid's
Thunberg.
show, isn't
Okay.
it?
Thornburg. She's a Thornburger? All right. It's something Berg. Something Berg.
Thunberg.
Right?
Thunberg. Yeah.
Good burger.
Thunberg.
We're calling Greta Good Burger.
Stupid.
So
Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burgers. Can I take your order, please?
yeah.
Sorry.
So
Nickelodeon just attacked.
right. So I was sitting, I was thinking about like, the stuff that she did, like the tours that she did, stuff like that. I mean, nothing against her. Like, I mean, I was just thinking about it, just making an observation. And I thought about stuff like when I was a kid, like the stuff like we used to see, like the kids going to the UN and addressing the UN on climate change and stuff like that, like back in the 90s, And it's like, it's the same song and dance. Like we've been doing the same song and dance. This is why old people don't give a shit.
We have, right. We have, and I mean we have all been brainwashed to see each other as the enemy. I truly believe if the playing field was, if we changed how we approach each other, probably half of us would change our opinion anyway. Some of the opinions I had were only because other people had them for me.
Yep. Same.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. So it's just like, one of the things I've always hoped that this podcast would do, like it is an occult podcast, but it's also a life podcast. Because the occult is a lifestyle for us. It's not just a faith or a religion, or it's not just something we just practice. It's something we live like every day, every single day, from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep and until the day we stop breathing. It is something that we live, right? We live the occult. But you can't talk about life without talking about all the other aspects of life that occur simultaneously while being an occultist. The opinions of people saying that you can't be this thing and this thing, right? Like I'm not going to put titles on stuff. Like people, like if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you don't. Whatever. I'm not going to put titles on anything because it's just that's a waste of time. But the idea of people sitting there and saying that, well, you can't be this thing and be this thing. I mean, yeah, you can. Just because you disagree with one doesn't mean that somebody can't have something that you agree with and something you disagree with simultaneously. Like it doesn't work that way. So instead of focusing on the differences that you have with people, why don't you look at the things that you have that are similar with other people? Try to find a common ground, a point of conversation, and then grow from there. Build an understanding, right? I mean, I've brought this up a million times on this show over the last, dude, how long have we been doing this? 5 years?
At least 4. I
At
think
least
the
4?
other day it was 4.
4 years? Okay,
I
so we've been
checked.
doing this for
Yeah.
4 years. So 4 years ago, roughly, 3.5, Mystic and I had a very deep, private conversation prior to an episode. And in that conversation, I gave him some information, right? And he had told me that, you know, if I would have told him that 8 months prior, he would have stopped talking to me.
Sure woulda.
But we sat down, we had a conversation. I explained my side. He explained his side. And we kept living. And we were okay with each other. No animosity, no hatred. Just, all right, I get it. I understand. Right? And being able to sit down and have a conversation with someone that has such a differing point of view on that particular thing, and not have them yelling and screaming at you, just have them talking to you like a normal human being and explaining logically, rationally, calmly, respectfully their side of things, makes it so much fucking easier to listen to and try to understand and assimilate than when you have someone screaming and yelling in your face. And this, again, this goes on both sides. Both sides. Both sides are guilty of this shit, right? Whether it's the occult, whether it's politics, whether it's religion.
As above, so below.
Uh-huh. Like,
as Republican, so Democrat.
you know,
we got modern in. We can add it in.
Yeah, I mean, and it's the same thing. Like, if you think about a gay pride parade, a pride parade. I don't know why I have to say gay pride, because I could just say pride, but you know, whatever. You know, you think about, you know, Pride Month or a pride parade, and then like the amount of Christians that line up along the sidelines to yell and scream at people, you know, about how they live their lives, right? It's okay to disagree. Have a conversation. You know, and try not to have a conversation with everybody. Pick somebody, have a conversation. If they don't want to have a conversation, move on.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you'll learn something. Maybe both sides will learn something. But you have to be different to make things different. You can't be parroting and repeating and regurgitating everything that everyone else is doing that shows zero progress and expect to get progress. Because what is the definition of insanity? repeating the same action, expecting a different result. And
Yep.
that's what everyone is doing. So if you want to manifest the things in your life, the changes you want to see in your own personal life, your behaviors, your rituals, not just the ones in front of the altar, but the ones in your day-to-day life, need to mirror what you want from in front of the altar. It's that simple. Mark 5 says, I completely agree. As soon as people start looking outside of themselves and pointing fingers, trouble begins. The path is essentially internal. It is.
Yeah. There's a interesting thought that I've had a lot about politics and stuff, and that is, I think when more people do start going internally and looking at things and doing those daily rituals and learning more about themselves instead of looking outside for something to fix their problems, they will naturally go towards a more socially forgiving thought process. Because we start learning that we're not different. We're not all that different. I mean, we're different, but we're all going for the same thing. We're all trying to do the same thing, and it's frustrating, when we get stuck, and I don't know, it's just frustrating.
It is. There's a meme that I saw that's actually really good for this, and the phrase I think is even better. Everyone wants change. No one wants to change. I'm going to say that one more time. Everyone wants change, but no one wants to change. And if you can't accept the things that you need to change to mirror and reflect the change that you want to see, then you will change nothing. That's it. That's what it comes down to.
And you can take a nihilist attitude toward, or a defeatist even, and just say, no matter how angry you get in this world, is it even going to matter when you're done?
Probably not.
Yep.
It's,
And I like the comment that somebody uses, and I've used this a lot lately. It's come from a bunch of different people, and it's like, are you angry about it now? You mad about it now? Are you going to be angry about it in 6 weeks? If not, like, then why are you mad about it now?
yeah, exactly. So I mean, I think nihilism to a certain degree has an effective resolve in the sense that live your life for you. Stop worrying about shit that's happening outside and around you because you have no control over it anyway. So just enjoy your shit while you can. So, like Mystic and his rat dog,
You're not a rat dog.
Humans are the only thing that are living without knowing its purpose. Well, I mean, any living creature has one base purpose. There's this, like, if you want to talk about like evolution, if you want to talk about like primal instinct, every living creature on this planet has one base purpose: survive. Its secondary purpose: procreate the species. That's it. Those are literally the two things that any living creature on this planet functions off of, including human beings. Survive life until you can't, and procreate as much as possible. That's what the run is, basically, of it. and that's over. It's a highly it's an oversimplification. It's just a very oversimplification of it, but that is human purpose, to survive and to procreate. And if you think about a wolf or a dog, it'll generally chew its own foot off to get out of a bear trap if it gets stuck in one.
Yes, it will.
That is the level of need to survive from the primal brain. Beyond that, no, we don't have a fucking purpose. And the thing is unfortunately, we live in a society where everybody has a Jesus complex. Everybody wants to be Jesus. Everybody wants to be somebody's fucking savior. Be your own savior, because no one's coming to save you, and you're not going to save anyone else.
See, I think people do think they have a purpose. It's just not the correct one. It's not the one that matters.
So is it the ego that's corrupt? Yeah, I would say so. I would say that, like, human ego is probably the worst thing that we have. I mean, everything we do is a reflection of our necessity to have a control over everything around us. To building structures to protect us from the elements, to building apparatuses that control the climate inside of those structures that we build, and then everything is contrary to natural geometry, right? Like, everything we do construction wise is contrary to what shape is in nature. That's primarily due to the fact that it's just fucking easier to build a square room than it is to build a round one. But it is what it is. I mean, everything in our life is a box, right? You're watching me on a fucking box. You're probably holding a rectangle in your hand right now, which is essentially a square, right? You drive in a box, right? You probably eat out of a box. So, it just kind of is what it is. But anyway, I do believe that that is going to be it for this evening, especially because Mystic is turning off all his lights.
Yeah, so I'm gonna carry on as long as you want to, but one of our friends is having and I think I told you earlier, I don't remember, but one of our friends is having a really bad week, so we're gonna go meet him out and hang out for a little bit. Usually we're in for the night, but
yeah, well, I mean, I think we gave a lot for people to think about. I think this is a very productive conversation.
I think the biggest thing, like if I have learned anything in any of the spiritual stuff that I've ever done, I know you guys are getting a tour of my house. It is ultimately that everything that we do is a reflection of what we are and who we are. So we try to go and do all these things and try to make people see us a certain way and do things a certain way when really we're already doing that. So if you just do what you feel is right to do, then a lot of the shit will fall apart. It'll fall away, and then you'll have what's left is what you enjoy in life and what makes it good. And then when you do your daily rituals, you'll create the environment around you that's beneficial. But unfortunately, 80% of the world is ego and wants to do what's best for them, not realizing that what's best for them is usually best for everybody.
And Mark, it's not that I don't think that there is a higher purpose of something. Like I said, there's a reason I said it was an oversimplification.
Right.
But I do think that the baseline purpose of any living creature, like anything that breathes, eats, shits, and dies, are those two things, right? It's survive and reproduce. Is there more to it than that? Definitely. But that's the baseline. Anyway, that is going to be it for this evening. You guys have been fucking amazing. Mystic is now outside of his house, showing his house number. It's like, you know. So with that, thank you all for being here. You guys are fucking amazing. And as always, hail thy fucking self. We'll see you in the next one. Peace the fuck out.